Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we delve into a truly unsettling tale, reminding us of the precariousness of life. Imagine this. One moment, you're enjoying the best time surrounded by those you love, and the next, they are desperately reaching out to you with blood-soaked hands, screaming for help. But there's nothing you can do as your own life flashes before your eyes. This isn't a scene from a horror film. It's a real-life nightmare, the most horrifying sight you could ever witness. In life, we often say, "You only live once." But remember, death doesn't come knocking gently. It barges in, violently and unexpectedly. The story I'm about to share encapsulates agony, suffering, and cruelty. We extend our deepest sympathies to everyone who knew and cherished the Ortega family and all those impacted by this tragedy. Today, the grim task of locating the last of the victims concluded. They were discovered this morning, following a severe fire that completely destroyed their home. "I'm utterly shocked," one of the neighbors expressed. "I could never have imagined he would do something like this. I'm just devastated. Merry Christmas to me," they added, walking away, overwhelmed by the situation. Imagine a Christmas gathering, filled with joy and laughter, abruptly turning into a scene of terror and sorrow. On December 24, 2008, the Covina massacre devastated the small community of Covina, California, leaving 9 people dead and many others traumatized. Gunshots shattered the night, followed by a fierce blaze that engulfed the home, trapping and killing several attendees. The festivities morphed into a horrendous nightmare, leaving behind deep scars and numerous unanswered questions. What could drive someone to commit such a heinous act during what should be the happiest time of the year? The Covina massacre remains a chilling reminder that darkness can descend at any moment, even during our most cherished celebrations. That evening, the Ortega family was immersed in holiday cheer in their Covina home. In the dining room, Joe Ortega and his wife, together for over 53 years, enjoyed a lively game of Texas Hold'em with their children after a delightful dinner. Outside, the grandchildren were engrossed in video games and enjoying each other's company by the pool, wishing the night would never end. Upstairs, Michael, the 17-year-old grandson, was happily typing away at his computer, savoring the peace and joy of the family gathering. But their serene night was about to turn into a scene straight out of a horror film. Suddenly, a knock at the door sparked excitement among the children, especially the 8-year-old girl who squealed, "Santa Claus! Santa Claus!" But the joy turned to horror when a man dressed as Santa entered, drew a gun, and shot the little girl in the face. Her uncles tried to intervene but were also shot and fell to the ground. As chaos ensued, other family members, including the Ortegas and 3 of their daughters, scrambled for cover under the dining table. But it was too late. The assailant, the ex-husband of one of the daughters, was relentless. Armed with a flamethrower, he ignited a fire so intense that it caused a massive explosion, sending flames soaring as high as 50 feet, equivalent to a 5-story building. The blaze was monumental, requiring the efforts of 80 firefighters over an hour and a half to extinguish. Inside, the situation was dire. The ferocity of the fire made it nearly impossible to identify the victims. Investigators had to rely on dental and medical records to determine who was present during that tragic night. The perpetrator, Bruce Jeffrey Parro, was merciless. He murdered Joe and his wife, 4 of their children, 2 daughters-in-law, and even Michael, who was innocently engaged at his computer, sparing no one. Among the 25 to 30 people celebrating that night, the survivors are reluctant to speak publicly, but information from the investigation corroborates the family's accounts of the terrifying events. Charles Ortega, one of the sons, recognized the gunman right after he shot Charles's niece and brother. Amidst the horror, James and Charles Ortega, though critically injured, attempted to confront the shooter. Unfortunately, they were overpowered. In a heart-wrenching recount, a close family member, Irma Chapa Ortega, revealed that despite their injuries, James and Charles tried to stop the assailant. Meanwhile, the elder Ortegas and their daughters, along with one daughter-in-law, sought refuge under the dining table, a futile attempt to escape the rampage. She had been in contact with some of the family members who managed to survive the harrowing ordeal, and they relayed the chilling events to her. As the crisis unfolded, panic engulfed the room. Shouts of "Run! Run!" filled the air, and chaos ensued. Among those caught in the initial mayhem were the Ortegas and two of their daughters, Sylvia and Alicia, who might have been fatally wounded right there in the dining room. However, their daughter Letitia, whose little girl was severely injured, miraculously survived. Hiding briefly under the table, Letitia made an urgent 911 call, her voice trembling as she recounted the horror. "I heard the shots, and suddenly, everyone was panicking and running. We all dove under the table. He's shooting! He's shooting!" she relayed to the dispatcher, struggling to provide her address amidst the chaos. "My daughter's been shot in the face. She's bleeding profusely," Letitia cried out, her voice a mix of despair and urgency. The dispatcher tried to reassure her, urging her to stay on the line while help was dispatched. Amidst this, a relative shared an awe-inspiring act of bravery about Letitia. After witnessing her daughter stumbling out of the house, injured but alive, Letitia seized the moment to escape, a decision that likely saved both their lives. An investigator, preferring to remain anonymous due to the ongoing investigation, mentioned a miraculous detail. Despite being shot in the face, the little girl might have inadvertently saved herself by turning her head at the last second, causing the bullet to strike her jaw instead of a more lethal target. As the adults hustled to usher the children to safety, it became clear that the younger members of the party, likely distracted by video games at the back of the house, were largely shielded from the gunman's initial rampage. Tragically, the sole youth who did not survive was Michael Ortiz, a 17-year-old engrossed in his computer upstairs. He was likely killed by the explosion or the fire ignited by the assailant's homemade incendiary device. Why would someone commit such a vile act? Bruce, a 45-year-old man embittered by his recent divorce, was consumed by anger and sought a twisted form of retribution against his ex-wife and her family. Mental health experts from the FBI who studied his behavior noted signs of severe narcissism and obsessive-compulsive disorder, which, while not excusing his actions, helped explain the unimaginable violence he unleashed. Bruce's meticulous escape plan involved fleeing to Illinois after the attack. He even secured a plane ticket, hoping to vanish in the aftermath of his crime. However, fate had other plans. During the attack, he sustained serious second- and third-degree burns, which thwarted his escape. In agony and unable to flee, he drove 40 miles to his brother's home in Sylmar to end his life. The coroner's report later indicated that Bruce died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, likely fired into his mouth. In a bizarre twist, when police discovered Bruce's body, they found $177,000 wrapped in plastic around his legs, secured with a girdle. His nearby rental car was rigged with an explosive device, complicating recovery efforts. Inside his brother's home, authorities found empty handguns and over 200 rounds of ammunition, painting a grim picture of the extensive preparations he had made for both the massacre and his potential escape. The aftermath of this tragedy left the community and the surviving family members in a state of shock and profound grief, struggling to comprehend the scale of the loss and the darkness that had descended upon their festive gathering. Investigators also uncovered remnants of Bruce's Santa suit at his residence in Montrose, California, which had been rigged to explode, highlighting the premeditation of his heinous actions. At his home, police discovered a chilling arsenal: empty boxes for semi-automatic handguns, a Benelli M2 tactical shotgun, and containers of highly flammable gasoline. More disturbingly, his home housed what could only be described as a virtual bomb factory, a clandestine workshop where he crafted dangerous devices. It was a stroke of luck that the authorities found these deadly preparations before further harm could occur. To those who knew him superficially, Bruce Parro appeared charming and generous. A neighbor recounted interactions that now seemed ominous in hindsight. "When I first saw him in that Santa suit, I didn't think much of it, even though I recognized him," the neighbor said. "But after learning what he had hidden inside that suit, guns and other weapons, it really shook me. He seemed like such a nice guy, always stopping by to ask about my dog. He even helped out at the church." It's scary to think he had planned this for so long. Behind his affable exterior, Bruce was concealing profound personal turmoil. His marriage was unraveling, causing him immense distress, yet he masked his pain from everyone. Even those closest to him were unaware of the double life he was leading, amassing weapons and plotting his escape long before his divorce was finalized. Bruce met Sylvia Orza in 2004, introduced by her brother-in-law who worked alongside Bruce at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Sylvia, at 40, was a mother of 3 from previous marriages. Bruce's friends believed she was ideal for him, a practical, kind woman with a large family that might anchor him. Initially, Bruce was enchanted by Sylvia's warm and welcoming family. However, within a year, their marriage soured. He became distant and often quarreled with Sylvia about finances. In March 2008, the situation escalated when Bruce and Sylvia decided to separate. Sylvia requested to stay in their home until her daughter finished kindergarten, but Bruce was unyielding. During a family gathering that Sylvia attended, Bruce packed up all her belongings and left them on the driveway, an act that left Sylvia devastated and forced her to move in with her sister in Glendale. She soon filed for divorce. Bruce's descent into darkness continued as he frequented Gun World in Burbank. On June 13th, he purchased a handgun for almost $1,000 in cash. By July 31st, he was fired for fraud and unsuccessfully attempted to claim unemployment benefits. He returned to Gun World on August 8th to purchase another handgun, eventually buying 5 in total. Bruce also ordered a Santa suit from a costume store, misleadingly claiming it was for a children's party. His preparations extended beyond California. He visited a gun shop in Iowa to buy 16 magazines, each capable of holding 18 bullets, far exceeding California's legal limits. Just a week before Christmas, his divorce from Sylvia was finalized, sealing the end of their tumultuous relationship. In the days leading up to Christmas, Bruce rented 2 cars, a Dodge and a Toyota, and packed the Toyota with essentials like maps, water, food, clothes, and gasoline, along with 2 computers. On the night he left for the fatal party, his neighbor, Bong Garcia, noted Bruce departing in the Dodge, an unusual choice given his typical preference for his luxurious Escalator Hummer. Bong found it odd, especially since Bruce mentioned he was headed to a Christmas party. As the tragic night unfolded and the house set ablaze, a neighbor witnessed a blue car speeding away with its headlights off, leaving behind a pair of fake glasses and Santa's hat in the front yard. Severely injured, with his Santa suit melted into his skin, Bruce drove 40 miles to his brother's house in Sylmar. His arms, hands, neck, and legs bore severe burns, and he was in a dire state, no longer capable of escaping the consequences of his actions. When his brother arrived home at 3:10 a.m., he found Bruce in a grievous condition, marking the end of a horrifying saga. Bruce's tragic end was discovered in a quiet, somber setting. His lifeless body lay on the couch, with 2 guns positioned next to him, stark reminders of the fatal choice he made. In his final moments, alone and overwhelmed, he shot himself in the mouth. Notably, he was still wearing his wedding ring, a poignant symbol of the life and relationships he had shattered. In stark contrast to Bruce's dark finale stands Letitia Yusufsky, a beacon of resilience and fortitude. Despite the immense pain and loss inflicted upon her family, Letitia has chosen a path of forgiveness and positivity. She often reflects on her journey, stating, "I can't alter the past, nor can I undo the horror that was brought upon us. All I can do is focus on the present and the good that continues to come into my life." Her gratitude extends to the unexpected kindness and support from strangers, which has been instrumental in her healing process. "The support from people I didn't even know has been overwhelming. It's this kindness that helps you find peace and pushes you to move forward," she explains. Her philosophy of life is rooted in gratitude and love. Letitia believes that focusing on the blessings, rather than the losses, enriches her life with peace and fulfillment. "I am so grateful for what I've had, for the blessings in my life. And while I miss my loved ones deeply, I am full of gratitude for the time we spent together," she shares. This approach has not only helped her navigate her grief, but also fortified her emotional and mental well-being. Leticia's resolve extends beyond personal healing. She actively chooses not to dwell on the past or the perpetrator of the massacre. He has done enough damage. I refuse to let his actions consume our lives with darkness, Leticia asserts. Her focus is on promoting love over hate, healing over bitterness. She encourages everyone to embrace love, which she regards as the most powerful energy. Love has the power to unite, to heal, and to bring people together. It's about building bridges, not walls, she passionately points out. A significant part of Leticia's mission is advocating for the younger generation. She believes in the importance of teaching children the values of love and kindness. Our kids are our future, and it's our responsibility to be good role models. If we teach them to hate or to be violent, or if we let them feel less significant, we are setting a foundation for a bleak future, she cautions. This belief was vividly demonstrated during a school walkout where Katrina Yusufsky, Leticia's niece who survived the Christmas Eve massacre at the age of 8, took an active stance against gun violence. Katrina read the names of the 17 victims of the Parkland, Florida shooting, linking her personal tragedy to a national call for change. Being part of something that directly impacts me has given me a unique strength and purpose. It's not just a cause, it's personal, Katrina reflects. The years following the tragedy have seen Leticia and her family working diligently to preserve their cherished family traditions while honoring the memories of those they lost. The family still gathers for dinner, exchanges gifts, and shares stories of their loved ones, keeping the essence of those who are no longer with them alive in their hearts. Christmas Eve, a time that once held joy and now bears the scars of tragedy, is spent at the cemetery, offering a moment to reflect and connect with the spirits of their departed family members. The family dynamics have also evolved to adapt to the new reality. One of the nephews, who tragically lost both his parents in the massacre, has stepped up as the guardian for his 3 younger siblings, demonstrating remarkable maturity and dedication. Leticia and her husband took in her sister's youngest daughter, ensuring she had a stable and loving home. To preserve the magic of Christmas and help the children process their trauma, Leticia reassured them that the menacing figure in the Santa suit was not the real Santa Claus. Furthermore, she arranged for them to attend a special camp designed to help young survivors deal with grief and trauma. Leticia often reflects on the dual nature of memories. Everywhere you look, there are memories of what we once had, and also those of that horrifying night. You can't escape it, but you learn to live with it. Despite the pervasive pain, she remains adamant that Christmas will continue to be a time of celebration for her family. We will keep celebrating no matter what. It's what keeps us together, what keeps us strong, she asserts. Even a decade after the official closure of the investigation, the bond between the family and the detectives who worked on their case remains strong. These detectives make it a point to check in with the family, especially around the festive season, a testament to the lasting impact of the tragedy on the community and the enduring care of those involved. We've now reached the end of today's story. What are your thoughts on this case? Please share your insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support means a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.